Hello, everyone. This is Coffee Weekly. I'm Otto, and today our topic is recharging batteries. And I have some sun here with me, which is very nice. And also with me, we have
Sheldon here, and today we don't have any guests, so just the three of us. And lastly, but not least,
Hendrik, it's a pleasure to be with you guys today here. Good morning.
Very awesome to have you two with us. So recharging batteries, I would say, was the first thing that comes to my mind when recharging batteries. I think everyone has their own version of recharging batteries. Some people might get very, relaxed from taking time off. Some people might get relaxed from doing something very specific. Some people might relax from, I don't know, doing nothing or something in between, or a mix of both. But I can speak from my perspective. I think recharging batteries, so I feel better than before, mostly when I have time to relax, actually. This can be traveling, this can be just chilling at home and, I don't know, listen to music, or yeah, actually just sitting on the couch and doing nothing. I really like it. What about you guys?
Nice. So for me, it's also like just personal time off, not having to meet anybody, like no appointments. But if I want to, I can meet somebody, just this freedom to do whatever I want. Like if I want, I can just lay down on the bed all day or play games all day. Like this is really good recovery for me. I think it's different for people. Maybe Sheldon can tell afterwards what works for him. Maybe some people also get a lot of energy back from going out and meeting people and talking to people, but that doesn't work for me. Sheldon, how is it about you?
Yeah, I do have this necessity sometimes to talk to people. But before I talking about that, when I think about like recharging batteries, I think there's like this short term, mid term, and long term. So short term is like sleeping, for example, we have to do every day, or just taking a break, like between work or something. And for these ones, I usually tend to do like what people say, like passive resting or passive resting. I would say, like when you're just watching something, or like you're not actively doing something to rest. And sometimes, for example, I'm stressed in the head, but my body is rested. So I go out for a run, which stresses out my body, but also rests my mind. So it's a different type of resting as well. And it's kind of, I think people call it like active resting or something like this. And lastly, there's like different types of resting in terms of like social resting. For example, if I talk to a lot of people during periods of time, I need to just have some alone time to cool off my head of like a lot of voices in my head. But then the other thing happens. So if I stay by myself for a long period, I feel that I need to talk to people. So I have to go to a pub or something to like recharge the social battery kind of.
I remember a talk that I watched while I was at Klarna. It was regarding mental well-being at the workplace and also some kind of like work-life balance. And there was one concept they explained that was super interesting. So it was targeted towards people working in the office because, our work is mostly sedentary. So we don't really move. Our physical experience is very limited. Nonetheless, we experience stress. So if like there's a deadline and I gotta have like half an hour left, I can do it, but it's like I gotta really rush. Or I don't know, like something unexpected come in. You might be on call and you get paged like, oh, something goes wrong. So you have to go in and you're like, oh, you don't know what's happening. And you might be able to fix it, but still the response from our body is to release stress hormones. And he explained the big problem in our society with desk jobs is that while we physically release stress hormones, we don't give our hormones a physical response. So while we might feel the accomplishment of like, okay, the danger is solved, there's no danger anymore, still the hormones rest in our body. And it's cortisol and cortisol, one of those two. And your body still has to get rid of it. And the process of sitting while getting rid of it, I don't know what it exactly causes, but it's definitely not good. So one very simple way of resting in the sense, or giving your body time off, is to just move. So they say, whatever you do, like if you know there has been some, I mean, it can be positive stress, it can be any kind of stress, but just go for a walk. Because back in, I mean, the reason for that is back in the days when we were like cavemen, I think we pick up the topic caveman quite oftentimes, but I like it. So our genetics or our hormones are programmed that if we're in the nature, and I don't know, we pick some berries because we like berries, and then we see like a tiger, and then boom, our response, adrenaline and stress hormones, they go up because we have this fight or flight response. So basically, we either punch this tiger, or we just run as fast as we can, because this is how we survive. But then if we're faced with the same situation, like, oh no, our system is down, we're like, I'm gonna write some code. It's not really the same response that our body is expecting. So that's actually one good way to recharge your batteries, just by doing what your body is expecting you to do. So your body gives you like, it wants to help you basically. So you have to respond to it and listen to its signals and just give it some movement and come back. And then you're like, oh, now I'm feeling better.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And also, like, even if you don't face necessarily a threat that causes the hormone to go up, to spike, there are other things. For example, you're exploring a difficult challenge, and then like there's this, like, for example, software engineers might be coding something, and there's this tricky edge case that is not working properly, and then stay hours on that. And sometimes just stepping away a little bit and going for a walk and go back might solve the issue. So this is one of the things that I do, and I should do more often, actually. And I classify these as like as part of the short-term rest, well, what I was talking about earlier. And then like there's this mid-term rest, which is like usually the weekends, which is like the 2 full days of completely rest, not talking about work and stuff like that. Or 3, yeah, depending on your arrangements. And then like there's like this long-term rest, which is like proper vacation, when you actually request time off and go either on a trip or doing something. And I try to do this every now and then, because it's good for the mind to spread out the breaks, like this short-term, mid-term, and long-term breaks. In my head and in my experience, it's been really good to wrap my head around this. Does that make sense?
One like very interesting thing is that if we think about the by law required work times, they include all of those 3. The short term is the lunchtime, the midterm is the weekends by law, and the long term is the vacation time you have, which is very interesting. But also, I just realized, as Hendrik mentioned, so both Hendrik and me, we usually work 4 days a week, and you do work 5 days a week. So I would actually like to ask you, Sheldon, how do you feel about when you work 5 days a week? Do you feel that 2 days in the weekend give you enough midterm rest to come back on a Monday and be like, let's start this week?
Usually, yes. I don't know if it is because throughout my whole life, I was used to this arrangement. Back in school, I was going to school from Monday to Friday. So at work, I go Monday to Friday as well. So it's kind of like this is what I'm used to. Sometimes I think if it would be better to work on a 4 days work week, or as opposed to a 5 days work week, because at some point, like from one side you have more rest, but from the other side, there is this feeling, at least I experienced this when I stay too much time outside of work. When I come back, like I lose all the context. I have a lot of overhead to get back like to the normal speed of working. So I think like the 2 days for that is a sweet spot for me, at least for now, where I guess I get enough rest, but don't lose context over what I was working on Friday, so I can get back to work on Monday.
Yeah, that's interesting, actually. Sheldon, how do you like, what's your usual weekend looking like? Do you just relax, do fun activities, or do you sometimes have to work something in the household, for example, like painting a wall, doing some repair work, or taking care of people, like some additional work, or is it like usually really just 2 days of having fun? How does your weekend look like?
Oh, I'm trying to not have 2 days of having fun the full weekend, but it's hard because like you get on Saturday morning tired for the whole week, so you just want to do nothing, and that's usually what I do. Like, so Saturday morning, we do this thing. So my wife and I, we also try to do most of the stuff together throughout the weekend. So we schedule like the Saturday morning to be this thing we call slow morning. So like we wake up and stay a little bit in bed, and we prepare a good breakfast, eat it slowly, talk, and then like a few hours in the morning we do that. And then we do some fun activities. Maybe we go outside, maybe we go to the beach. And we try to do some like admin stuff as well, depending on what we are doing at the moment. There's always something to do. When you're adult, you figure out that life is not that simple. So there's a lot of little things that you need to take care of. So yeah, I try to make a balance.
In the afternoon? Saturday afternoon is your slot for that?
Usually Saturday afternoon or Sunday afternoon, because then Sunday I kind of like start warming up my brain to Monday. And usually Saturday afternoon as well is where people invite us for a dinner or a barbecue or like some type of gathering, and then we can go over like Saturday night and sleep later in Sunday morning. So we try to do this arrangement, like a long time, just the two of us, Saturday morning, Saturday afternoon, and evening social time with other people, and then Sunday a little bit of admin, like proper work, and warm up the brain to Monday.
That's interesting. One last thing, like with the Sunday, I just see the problem, like, for example, you have to take care of your health insurance, or you have to go to the doctors, or you have to get like some papers from somewhere else, or go to the bank or something. That's the problem I just see with Sunday afternoon for this kind of work. How would you put that?
Oh yeah, so
Saturday then?
Yeah, that's the thing. No, so the things that require like places to be open, we leave it for the weekday. So right now my work is flexible, so I don't have like a specific time to work. So I arrange my day to leave blocks during business hours, so I can do personal stuff during business hours.
Okay, that's interesting. I just want to conclude that it was interesting to hear from me, but that shows like there's not even that much time left for recharging the battery on the weekend, because we just saw, okay, there's anyway so much stuff to do. Otto, what do you think?
I think there's this very interesting concept of some people, you know, they have their weekends as free time, which is not work. And during the week, I mean, after work you go home, but you're not really able to do something big. Maybe go to the gym, maybe buy some stuff, but not really like maybe have a dinner, but you know. But then you have this conflict of, well, you have 2 days. Are you either gonna do all the fun things you wanted to do, or are you just gonna take like not do something and chill? And then, well, in some countries like Germany, well, on Saturday things are open, on Sunday everything is mostly closed. So you're kind of, okay, Saturday you go out and you just buy stuff, and Sunday, well, you have to stay at home and hang over because there's nothing you can do. But it creates this very like interesting effect that on Saturday it's like crazy full and everything, and on Sunday, if you didn't buy food, for example, the day before, you kind of, I mean, lost in a way. But what I find very interesting is that sometimes it happens to people that, you know, you have a dinner on Friday and you drink a bit afterwards, and then Saturday is this party, and then it's like Monday, and you need like rest from the rest that you have. So it's not enough time to both take care of your fun like activities, things you're excited about, and things that you just take time to relax, basically. And I think this is the same concept also with long-term rest. So people go on vacation, and I don't know, they go to a festival, and then they travel and they go to like 5 different cities, and it's amazing, you know. And they come back and they're like dead, you know, and then start like working again, which is kind of not really the point of. I mean, it does recharge some batteries, right? It recharges your experience and new impressions and being curious batteries and traveling and meeting people. But then it really discharges like your rest level or your physical energy or mental energy, however you want to.
Yeah, I think yeah, I think about this that you just said quite a lot, and I think it depends on how you plan your vacation. It's kind of like on us to manage our time, and we talked about time management before in an earlier podcast episodes. But usually, so I used to do this mistake. For example, I schedule time off to travel somewhere. And during the trip, like I'm going to be exploring, walking a lot. So I'm going to arrive home very tired. And then the next day going to work is going to be really tiring. So I usually like arrive at home like 1 or 2 days earlier. And then on those 2 days, I literally do nothing, like just watching Netflix or whatever during the whole day. Because then like I rest from the vacation, or during the vacation, I have like this mental rest. And during this last 2 days, I have a physical rest.
Yeah. I think one of the best life hacks for this is also like to take 1 more day off after vacation for just getting home, unpacking, doing groceries again, chilling on the couch. I think that's super good to do.
But I think like the model that most people have or our society follows is, as you say, we have the short-term rest, like just going for lunch, mid-term is the weekend, and long-term is the vacations. But I have the feeling sometimes it feels not very efficient, because nowhere in the program is like the thought of like maybe sometimes irregularly or regularly both, we need to actively like schedule time off. I mean, some companies are doing this by like, oh, we have this wellness program and you have like this yoga classes, and I don't know, we do a trip with some people, you know. And but I think, to be fair, I think overall society might not be doing the best job, because I don't know what the percentages are on people burning out or people being like in a high stress level, but I have the feeling that our society, I mean, the biggest disease we have, so to say, is stress. And my main interpretation would be that we don't prioritize enough to recharge our batteries. Also, the problem is that everyone is individual. I mean, some people like me, I get very, very happy and recharged when I meet with people. I mean, on days where I meet 3 different groups of people, the next day I'm like, or on the same day, I'm like super happy and super hyped and feel very easy and relaxed, even though I walk a lot and do everything. But then some people, they might like to meet people, but it drains them. It's not really their natural flow, even though they like it. It's like this kind of conflict you might find yourself in. But in general, I think it might not be prioritized enough. Like finding out what do you need, and I mean, of course, movement and going to the nature and not being on a screen. I think that almost everybody should be doing. But then also saying that, okay, I will take some time for this now. I will just, you know, for example, what I do or what I try to do, I'm not very good at that. I used to go for a walk after lunch, because also you work, you cook something, you eat something, but it's not really, I mean, you might want water, you might think, have some thoughts, but still it's like a process. You're not really resting. And then I finish eating and there's the next meeting, but it's not really like, I don't feel like I had a short break. So I try to either have a nap, I can recommend it for like 20 minutes, or I just go for a little walk to like properly be able to just relax. And I think we all need that, and we all should be doing some form of it. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think I think that first of all, we need to, like, how can I say this, like pass the message, like evangelize more, like taking time off and like the different types of resting. And also I think we need to learn like what are the different types of resting, because like we mentioned a few, like talking to people, doing sports, going for a walk. So there's different types of resting that you should be doing, and it's our responsibility as an adults to take care of ourselves. And I have an analogy, or kind of like an opinion on this, and it's kind of something that I mentioned before, which is like comparing our childhood with right now. And on our childhood, we have our vacation and our time off forced on us, like because of school or because of our parents. And then so we grew up like not worrying about this because other people will take care of this for us. And now that we are adults, taking care of ourselves, it's up to us to go there and like, oh, I need to take some rest, I need to take a break, I need to schedule some vacation, and so on and so forth. So I think that's a little bit of like putting some intention on this matter.
Yeah, like I think actually the default model for students is okay considering the rest time, because a lot of people there are just not so good, especially as a kid, with planning. Like imagine a kid can take their vacation as they want. Would that be a good idea? Probably. Like, what do you think? Like, if students could take their own vacation, like let's say they have the same amount, but they can take it when they want. What do you think would be the consequence? Just let your mind wander.
I mean,
I can see already the.
For kids, I can tell, but I know that companies like Netflix and Uber, where they have unlimited time off, people tend to work more on average, which is very interesting. So I don't know how that would work for kids. Maybe it would more be like spontaneous. So you wake up and you don't feel like, so you don't go. Instead of like planning, oh, in September, I would go for 5 weeks. I would go this and there. So
like with which money?
I think at the end of the day, it would end up on the parents' decision, because they're going to be like, oh, we are going to take time off, so you are going to take time off as well this period.
Yeah, I can see like just students trying to dodge the exams. Like, oh, exams, nah, I'm on vacation.
But what I would be interested to hear, if like each of us would have like a little handbook, I mean, like a little manual, how to recharge batteries of this person, what would you do? And so maybe people can learn from that. Maybe they see, oh, this is something I can relate to, or this is something I work completely different, but at least then you know.
Yeah, what I saw for me is like just gaming all day, from morning, waking up until evening, just playing games all day. And maybe if I'm adventurous, going for 1 hour or 2 hours with a bike out or meeting someone. But that's it for me, super simple. How about you guys?
I think for me, I would go with understanding the different types of resting and applying them, and scheduling time off, doing some trips, including physical exercise. It's funny, when you exercise, you actually get better rest. And I feel it every time, like on a day that I run, I sleep better. It's like this fast, the feedback. So so resting, understanding the different types of taking time off, and also the different types of resting, like we talked about. I think if you Google it, probably there's like hundreds of articles talking about different types of resting. So yeah, those would be my tips.
Like one thing you mentioned is pretty much a good thought. So you were saying when you go for a run, so which takes energy, you really recharge better. And that's also at one point, I think, if you want to recharge your batteries in a good way, you have to make sure that they're discharged first, because you cannot recharge a full battery. Sounds stupid, but makes a lot of sense. Because I realized at some point in my life, I really managed to put my time so well that I had so much free time. But I slept like shit. I didn't feel productive. And I was like, I have so much time. Everything is going well. And that's pretty much what I think. So for me, it boils down to the very simple basics. So have some kind of work that challenges you and where you have some achievements, because this basic engine of doing something, this like discharges a bit of batteries, but this gives us like a routine, a purpose, money. I mean, social connection sometimes it checks like so many boxes. Is the most important thing. have a work that is a little challenge, but is manageable. Second of all, sleep. Get 8 hours of sleep. Like, I can't stress this enough. This is very, very, very important. And last but not least, yes, find something maybe creative, because your body might want one thing and your mind want to express yourself. So it can also just be listening to music or going to the cinemas or going to the gallery or a museum or something. But at least have something that your brain gets some input or can express yourself.
Brian.
And sorry?
You're Brian.
Did I say Brian? I don't know. And the last thing, exercise for your body. So your mind might be like, if you go for a run, typical example, your mind has nothing to do. I mean, literally, you just walk. I mean, just don't stop. It's the only thing you do. But if you give your museum, you give your body some time off and your head is active. And while exercise, your head is kind of resting and your body is active. You have like this balance between back and forth. So basically, if you have some kind of regular work, if you have 8 hours of sleep, if you have some creative or any visual audio input or output, and you exercise some kind of bit, even if it's just once a week, twice a week would be better. That's enough. And I will rest. I can assure you that your batteries will be recharged. That's my closing words.
All right. So let me pick up from there. Like, Otto, you talked about being active in the workplace, and the one thing that I can give as a closing thought is to second this. There is one technique, it's called Pomoduru, and the basic concept is like 25 minutes of work, 5 minutes of active break. It's quite popular. We had a team where we were very strict about that. It feels weird in the beginning, and colleagues might be like you had just had a break, but really being like walking up the stairs, going down the stairs, doing some stretches, or just grabbing a cup of water, like really frequently, like just keeps your blood flowing, and you will be productive all the time, and it's so good for your health and body. I can really recommend that. Take a lot of small breaks. I'm not hardcore doing that anymore, but I'm soft Pomodoring, so I really try to take a lot of small breaks and standing up in my work time. I can give that to our listeners today. Sheldon.
No, I think that's it. You said it all. And very nice tips at the end. Thanks everybody for listening to this, and see you next time. Bye.
Thank you. Take some time off.
Thanks everybody.
See you in a week. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.